Religion is the opposite of relationship with Jesus. Religion is all about performing outwardly for people and not being transformed inwardly by God. This is where Jesus says of religious people, with their lips they honor me, but their hearts are far from me. And what he's talking about here is how people speak to one another. And can we just say that this has been a brutal year? That we are a divided country. We are a conflicted country. That now technology has afforded us the opportunity to communicate more than ever, and what we communicate is death and not life. And it is just as the Apostle Paul prophesied, it is bitterness and cursing. Bitterness, I hate you, you said this, you did this, I judge you, I condemn you, I shame you, I publicly, scorn you. And then curse, literally, I'm putting a curse over you. You'll never change, this is who you are, this is your identity, there's no hope for you, there's no future for you. We live in a culture of death, that's what he's saying. And he says that the words that come out of us, they literally kill people. An asp was a deadly reptile. It was believed that Cleopatra died by suicide through an asp. That's what he says here is an asp. There are certain things that we say, and they literally poison and destroy people. And see, there's this little line that we tell kids, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's not true. That's not true. How many of you, something has been said and it was deadly, it was lethal, it was devastating. And he says that as long as there is death in here, it's out of the overflow of the heart the mouth speaks, Jesus says. That if there is death in here, there will be death out there, and it is the stench of death. I don't know if you've ever smelled a dead body, a decomposing body. There is nothing quite like it. It is horrifying. Some years ago when crisis and tragedy hit in Haiti, I was part of a small medical mission that brought relief supplies. We landed and we were delivering them on the ground. Churches collapsed, people dead, horrific trauma, and there was no governmental services to pick up the dead and decomposing bodies, so they literally just left them on the street corners. Over days, people are literally just blowing up and filling up until they explode. It was the most apocalyptic thing I'd ever seen. And as we were pulling bodies out of rubble and trying to save people's lives and deliver medical supplies, the stench after a few days of these decomposing bodies in the streets was so overwhelming that I literally had to take the peels of oranges and shove them in my nose just so that I could smell something other than that, because I was on the verge of throwing up all day, every day. Here's what God says. When I hear everything that everyone is saying, I feel like I'm going to throw up. See, we live in a day now with social media that we get more information and news than at any time in history. And it makes us sick and unhealthy. Imagine being God. He hears everything. He sees everything. He knows everything. And he never gets to, quote unquote, turn his phone off. He's constantly aware. You and I need to have a little empathy and compassion, meaning we look at things from God's perspective. You consider how frustrated we are with this planet. Imagine being the perfect God who made it perfect and made us perfect, and then seeing what we have done with what he has made. He then talks about the body, and he talks about feet that are swift to shed innocent blood. There was a historian, Will Durant. He recorded 3,241 years of human history, and he said that there was only 268 total years that he could not find a war. These people kill these people, and then these people kill these people. It is feet that are constantly heading to shed blood. And we will hear that and we will say, thankfully, I've never killed anyone. Let me say this. The leading cause of death in our country is still abortion. We keep getting this count. I wish they would have the other count. That the most dangerous place to be is still a mother's womb. That should be the safest place to be. The greatest threat to human life is hands of a physician that took an oath to preserve life. And even during our recent crazy year, churches were closed and clinics were open because death is essential and God is not. Now, if you're here and you've participated in the murder of abortion, because that's what it is, Jesus did die for you. There is forgiveness for you. There is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. But we cannot, as a culture and a nation, think that we have evolved beyond some sort of barbarous act where we take innocent human life. We take the most innocent human life. And I hear it all the time. What about justice for the marginalized and the outcasts? What about those who haven't gotten out to vote yet? Who's going to vote for them? See, Paul's condemnation of humanity is essential and it is just. He additionally says that our emotional life is ruin and misery. It's ruin and misery. That there is ruin in here, so we bring misery out there. We tend to be burden givers, not burden lifters. We tend to harm people, not help people. That emotionally we are unwell. Until God remakes our emotional life, we are emotionally unwell. And then he summarizes all of this with the soul. He says that they do not know the peace of God. Until you have peace with God, you cannot have the peace of God. And until you have the peace of God, you cannot bring the peace of God. That the soul is troubled and it is unhealthy and unwell.
Thanks for joining me. My name is Pastor Mark. I've been teaching the Bible for more than 3 decades and head on constant collisions with woke culture. And I would love to get you more Bible teaching. 2 things you can do. Go ahead and watch the sermon in total and also subscribe to the channel. And I'll just keep sending you Bible teaching and we'll have a lot more fun together.